time to turn the page. Started doing that a little yesterday here on the show, but today is the day to turn the page following that loss against the Ravens, following some of the Deshaun Watson, the shoulder stuff. We have to get into that today. We've got a little more information from Kevin Stefanski, and as I tweeted this yesterday, that's my bigger thing. The game is what it is. You didn't have a starting quarterback. It's tough to win that way in the NFL. The bigger question here, and some of the things I think the Browns need to maybe learn from all of this, is how they can guard against something like this happening again, where it's not outlandish. You have a player who's battling an injury, fights through the week of practice, can't go. It's a little different when it's the quarterback, though. And some of the things Kevin Stefanski said yesterday, found a little interesting. We're going to put our detective hats on today just a little bit to try to get to the bottom of all of that. But nonetheless, the Browns still have a lot of football left. They're in a good spot. There's reason to be optimistic. Excuse me. There's reason to be optimistic about where the Browns are at and what they can do to fix it. Your level of optimism will decide all that on a 2 for Tuesday. Our second question, Ryan already has a vote in. He didn't really want to talk about it, but we'll get to all of it on a 2 for Tuesday. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Welcome to Big Play. Good morning to all. We're live up on YouTube. We're up on Twitter, of course, Facebook as well. Follow us at Matt Fontana Show. Got a lot to get to. Cavs Media Day yesterday was great. Basketball's around the corner, which is an exciting thing for the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell spoke. I think there's one big thing that came out from Cavs Media Day yesterday. Kobe Altman with his first public statement since his, was it an OVI DUI? I think Kobe was clearly very, understanding of his situation, and we'll see the penalty, maybe that comes down or not. We'll discuss that coming up. We got the morning update. We'll get to Time Hop today as well. And I found this article yesterday, Ryan. We'll get to it in an hour too. What's the fastest drive-through of all of the chains, the chain restaurants, McDonald's and Chick-fil-A and Burger King, and we love them all. But a survey conducted of which one was the fastest.
I know my answer.
They did 10. Arby's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', Hardee's, KFC, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. Not one on the list I don't like, by the way.
I can already, I will wait for it, obviously, but I can already tell you what I'm going to say is the fastest and the slowest.
Yeah, okay.
By my experience.
We'll get to that coming up in hour two. Sometimes maybe in that Taco Bell line at 1:30 in the morning. We've all been there before, have we not? So we'll find out about the fastest drive-through times as well coming up here on the show. So we got you locked and loaded, taking you up to 11 a.m. this morning. I was ready to move past the game, frankly, yesterday. And I know it's something that people were a little upset on how I kind of said, there's nothing I can take away from that game on Sunday. When you have what played out, is it an excuse? Is it you lost the game, so you're sitting here just trying to say it's not that bad? I really, and rewatching it, I know you did too, Ryan. There were so many times watching the game again that I just go, I think Deshaun Watson makes that play. Or I think Deshaun Watson makes that throw. And that's not unfair. I'm not trying to be unfair to Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He is a rookie fifth-round quarterback. There's just some throws, some things he's not going to make. And I find myself so much of, man, if we could just change this and change that. People want to say, well, you could still make a statement on the defense. I think they were gassed at times. I think they were backed up a little bit. Yeah, there were missed tackles and at times didn't play well. But in totality, I'm kind of flushing that game. And that's what Kevin Stefanski said. We're into the bye week of finding the issues that we had through 4 games, not just Sunday. We'll find those issues, we'll correct them, and we'll move forward. And that's truly where I'm at today. Outside of the Watson shoulder thing, which I do want to talk about, and we'll hear from Kevin Stefanski on, I'm ready to flush that game and in a way flush the first 4 games. You are 2-2. There are times that I felt overconfident about this team. There are times that I felt less confident about that team. But you bottle it all up and you sit here today and you ask yourself, how do you feel about the Cleveland Browns? That 4 games is a good sample size in the 16-game schedule, and I'm bad at math, and you'll find that out quick here. A quarter of the season. That's just what I'm going to call it. It's probably like, 3.6 something. Do not give me the numbers. Don't do it.
Matt, we have these jobs for a reason. We don't do math.
Exactly. Thank you very much. I found out that I was in math in high school, that I was a junior and they were freshmen in my class. So I found out that I was not quite in the advanced level of the math. I did enough to get into college. I was good in science. I was always in honors science. I always liked history too. But art, really bad. Math, not great. History and science is kind of where I was at. What about you? What were your two subjects in school?
History was definitely my favorite one.
Yeah.
And same with you. Math was not my strong suit.
Not our strong suit. So it's a quarter of the season. Just give us that. That's a good enough sample size to understand who you are as a team and, like Kevin Stefanski said, what we can do better. You've had wrinkles thrown in with Conklin and Chubb and certainly now with the Deshaun Watson situation with the shoulder. You take that for what it is. You take that with the grain of salt that it is. But I still think the Browns are sitting here in a good position. I really sit here and feel like they have a tough game, a really tough game against the San Francisco 49ers. And that is one, again, depending on the health of Deshaun Watson. I'll put more into that game maybe than not. But I'm still going to sit there and feel good, mostly after that game, Ryan. After that game, you begin a stretch of the Colts, Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Steelers, Broncos, Rams. That is 7 games that I feel like you need to win 5 and have a legit chance of winning 5. You should, well, Colts are playing all right. Colts, you have no business losing to the Cardinals. I'm interested to see the Ravens and the Steelers the second time around. You have no business facing or losing the Broncos. You want to know what just popped into my head? Is Russell Wilson still the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos on November 26th? That Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, he will be, because I don't think there's any real world where they sit him unless they want to fake an injury. But and he's getting paid way too much money.
It's not looking good. And then they're into December against the Ravens. Anyway, after that 49ers game, and the problem is you don't want to sit there and start counting wins and counting chickens before they hatch. I get it, but the point is that the Browns are still in a position that they can make the playoffs. And that'll be our first 2 for Tuesday up on our show, at Matt Fontana Show. Our live stream is there as well. Do you still believe the Browns can make the playoffs? With everything that has happened, you are 2-2. You've had some injuries. You've had this. You've had that. Do you still believe that the Browns can make the playoffs? That's our Twitter question up on 2 for Tuesday. So always 2 questions, 2 answers. We'll get to our second one because I know Ryan's probably pretty heated about that. But where you sit today with what the Browns are at, and also, you have to factor in the rest of the division, knowing that the Bengals are in a tail slide right now. Somehow Kenny Pickett might play this weekend. It's a bone bruise in his knee. Sure, play all that out as it is. But even if you want to go grand scheme wild card, right now, you know there's only 2 teams in the AFC East making it. The Jets are done. The Jets are fried, and so are the Patriots. So there's one wild card. In AFC North, you hope a second wild card will come there, okay? The AFC South, they're all 2-2. I would believe that eventually that'll weed itself out, and there might only be one team that makes it. And then out west, it's KC and the Chargers. That's it. So of the playoff teams that you thought might compete, Denver, not really. Raiders aren't doing it. There is a wild card to be had. In my opinion, right now, Ryan, there is actually probably, I would say, 2 wild cards legitimately up for grabs. And I don't feel any less confident about the Browns getting one of those. I had a goal of winning the AFC North this year. That's something that I wanted to exercise that demon. They had never won the division as it was currently constituted. I needed them. That's what I wanted to do. I'm not going to lie. I pulled back on that a little bit. When I see what the Ravens have, I still think we can beat them with the full squad. I do. But you're down in the hole right now. You're down on just that you lost to the Ravens, you lost to the Steelers. And same thing, the Ravens' schedule is one that they seems like they might be able to pick up some games coming up here as well. Titans, Lions, Cardinals, that's their next 3 games. They should probably win all 3 of those after the Steelers. Probably should win that game too. So they're facing a portion of their schedule they can get fat, just like I'm talking about with the Browns. But to our question, do you feel like they're still going to make the playoffs? Hell yeah, I do. I do. Is there something, and I'd love this in the Twitter inbox, because I'd love to hear where people are at. Is there legitimately something that you look at this team that you point to and you circle like, that's it? That's the reason we're not making it. Deshaun Watson would probably be the answer, would he not?
Yeah, I mean, he would be. And there's real no answer that you can go look on a piece of paper and circle like you're saying. It's just, just looking at our organization and culture, and we've just failed so many times to get it done. We just love to be pessimistic. But you're right. There's no real position group or area that we can go circle that we're truly, truly, truly concerned about.
And that is something that's legit and real. They do need to show us.
Yeah.
They do need to show us something. We're not 4-0. We're not some juggernaut. You do need to show improvement, and you got to continue to show us something. It comes back to Deshaun Watson. Not just the shoulder, which we're going to talk a little bit about coming up, but his play on the field. Even when he was healthy, quote unquote, there were questions about decision-making, and he didn't seem like the same guy. And that's a real world of, did this slow things? When we go out there in 2 weeks against San Francisco, which is not going to be a cakewalk, you're facing a good defense. One of the things I will watch the most, did the shoulder slow down the progress? And people might stop me to say there was no progress being made. And I'll listen to that. I get it. But as one of the most important things for this team was the progress and the ascension of Deshaun Watson. And if the shoulder injury slowed that, missing the game, does he come back with some mechanical issues? If that shoulder is as hurt, it's hurt enough he missed the game. Okay, so things are not all fine and dandy. I get that. Does he come back with some mechanical issues now to compensate for that? Is that something that they got to figure out? We'll find out. But with all that in mind, the defense still, even with Sunday, playing to an elite level. And I just hope that Deshaun Watson gets back. I hope he gets back to the level. Now, the question is the shoulder. And we got some more pieces of the information. We got some little breadcrumbs from Kevin Stefanski. We'll hear about that. We'll discuss that coming up in just a second. But our second 2 for Tuesday, as we always do here on the show, 2 questions, 2 answers. First up, do you still believe the Browns are going to make the playoffs? We'll vote on that in a second. But our second one, are you over the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift? You put saga in the tweet, Ryan, but really it's this drama. And yesterday, people kind of went after the NFL because they changed their IG Twitter bio to be like the Chiefs are 2-0 as Swifties or something like that. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like what's going on between not just Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. At the end of the day, there are 2 people that are just trying to have a relationship. Yes, they're millionaires, and one of them is maybe the biggest musical star in the world. She is right now, potentially all time. It's Taylor Swift. I get it. Everybody follows her, and everybody's doing this. I get it. There's a point I feel bad for them. They can't even go on dates. They probably can't. There's cameras following them, Ryan, on if they leave the stadium together or what car they leave the stadium in. She's leaving in popcorn machines out of the suite. If you're a Swiftie, you know. Apparently, she shows up at her concerts.
She's in like the equipment box.
It's like a janitorial box or something, and then they wheel her in. The thing is, it's out. Everybody knows it. So everybody's pointing, like, oh, there goes Taylor Swift. She's in this giant cube that they roll up to the stage.
I'm just imagining her like balled up, like just getting rolled around.
Can't be comfortable in there. I mean, why can't she just walk to the stage? Can I ask that question too?
People are nuts, Matt.
But she's on the stage. If somebody was going to throw something at her or try to... I'm surprised, by the way, and I hope this doesn't happen, that no one's rushed the stage. I can only imagine it's not easy to get to. This might shock you. I've not been to a Taylor Swift concert. I should text my sister-in-law because she went to, I think she's been to 2 concerts. And I imagine that security is high and you trying to, because we saw that rash of people throwing cell phones. Who was the young lady that got caught with the cell phone, had to get stitches?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? I don't remember who it was.
I think it was 50 Cent who threw the mic at in the stage, and it like
somebody
clocked this lady in the head.
Got caught.
Yeah.
Was it? Baby Rexha.
Yes,
is that how you say
her? Yes.
Really, I'm up on my pop culture. Like, she had to get legit stitches because she got hit with a cell phone. Yeah. And they arrested the guy, as they should have, for throwing the cell phone. It's not like she has her own world, which is crazy. She has her own world, her fan base, her security, and all. And at the end of the day, she's a billionaire. She's got to be a billionaire at this point, right?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think her net value is? Taylor Swift net worth. Like, bro, she had to make hundreds of millions off just that tour. $740 million.
Matt, you want to Google something that'll make you sick to your stomach? Go Google her cat's net worth.
She has a cat?
Go Google her cat's net worth.
Wait. She has a cat named Olivia Benson?
Yes.
And it's worth $100 million.
Clipping that.
How many people are sitting at their jobs? We're doing our jobs. There's a cat. There's a cat. Is that because she left things to the cat, or the cat actually has like $100 million? Is the cat down for some investments? Can I introduce Big Play to the cat? Can we get a meeting with the cat? Sit down with the cat. Go, we're really doing some big things here with Big Play. Why don't, come on in as an investor. We'd love to have you. How are you spending your $100 million there, Olivia Benson?
Oh, you know, she's probably eating the best salmon and whatever that little cat heart desires.
Have you diversified your portfolio? Meow. Oh, good. Okay. We have an investment opportunity here for you. Meow. Oh, great. Oh, okay. Awesome. I mean, you hear stories about rich people leaving everything to their dogs or their cats. Like, she has a cat worth $100 million. Her cat probably is more net worth than her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah. So I'm close.
Travis has a little competition there with the cat. That is insane. But at the end of the day, there are still two people that, and I'd like to believe, are legitimate in their reasoning, or that they really enjoy each other's company and they would love to build a life together. It's probably hard to do. Now, for $750 million, I'd probably find a way too. But it's the NFL jumping on board with this too. That's where you've had enough, Ryan. You've had enough of the NFL.
I just want to preface this with saying that I've always been a really big fan of Travis Kelce. We both went to the University of Cincinnati. He seems like a really genuine guy, and he's kind of become this NFL poster child. We see him in so many commercials, and obviously. And before any Swiftie ever comes at me, I want to preface that with saying I do enjoy. I like Taylor Swift, and it's not her fault that the NFL is using this as an opportunity to make as much money as they can. Not her fault at all. She seems like a true, genuine person. Will I ever know if she is? I don't know. But my problem is with the NFL jumping on board so hard that you're going to put Swifties or 2-0 in your bio.
Well,
I need them to be objective, and I'm not saying they're not, but it's just a little bit. It's a little bit convenient.
Yeah.
That the Chiefs have been the best team in football for the last 4 years. Now she's coming to these games, and I'm not gonna be this conspiracy guy that's saying the refs needed the Chiefs to win. They gave them the calls because Taylor Swift was in the house. But it's getting a little too convenient for me, and it's just frustrating.
I think the crazy thing is the NFL, who prints money, still wants more. I guess you don't become rich not wanting to be rich, so they're going to try to find any reason that they can to increase their ad revenue. I mean, you're right. The crazy thing about Kelce is all the commercials that I see, because you're just inundated with them. And
it's a new one every day, Matt.
Dude, I never knock athletes for that. People, they used to be so old school of people freaking out about these guys should be watching tape. They film these commercials in the summer, and all these endorsement deals and all those Subway commercials with Patrick Mahomes, they're done months in advance. That creepy Nuggies commercial with Andy Reid for State Farm, those are done so far in advance. So it's crazy that Kelce kind of had all that in the bag, and then now the Swiftie stuff has kind of stepped up. But the NFL is one, you're right. You'd like them to kind of step aside, and they promote their players, I think, is almost as well as any league. I think the NBA does a really good job. We know how horrible baseball is at promoting their stars. The NFL has legitimate stars, and they know that social media is a big following for that, and that's what makes the NFL, just the fact that it's football. People love football more than anything, but they do cultivate stars. And they cultivate people to get them out in the forefront where Myles Garrett, but even Myles Garrett, right? Myles Garrett is uber popular, not just because he's a great football player, but that he has an Instagram following and that he has endorsements out. But what I was going to say is Patrick Mahomes was at the Met Gala, got invited to the Met Gala. I mean, that the NFL, good job, right? That's a good job on their part. So I think, did they cross a line with some of this Swiftie stuff? I don't know. To your point, the objective part of trying to stay out of it, they saw money, they wanted to grab it. Taylor Swift's cat has a $97 million worth because she has a line of premium cat food, and she has a Guinness World Record for the most Instagram following for a cat. So she's making money off the IG, is what the cat is doing. What happens when the cat dies? I'm assuming that money just goes to Taylor Swift. It's her cat.
Yeah.
The reverses are the crazy people that leave their fortune to their dogs or their cats, and they say this is meant for their well-being or all that, any of that kind of stuff. I have a dog. I love my dog. My dog does not have a net worth. He does not have a net worth. He's just our dog. It is what it is. So we know how Ryan's going to vote. Second one is up. Are you kind of over the Swift-Kelsey saga? And to be the positive for a second, like people that say they're not over it, it is Travis Kelce. I think it's cool that he's from Cleveland. I think the thing that we wonder is when will it end? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be an end point. There's got to be something that we've all had enough. But I just don't know when that's going to be, and I hate to tell you, Ryan, I don't think it's any time.
If she was dating, just thinking of a random name here, Josh Dobbs, right? And these Cardinals games are getting national coverage. It's just so convenient. The Chiefs are the best team in football. CJ Stroud
become a thing. Like, it's the Houston Texans. Is it still? No, it's the perfect storm of Travis Kelce's one of the best players in football on one of the best teams. It really is the NFL. This is a perfect storm.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the conspiracy theory that this was all set up, right? The Kardashians have made $1 billion empire by just setting crap up. And stories this and stories that. It's the world we live in. Socialites. That's what they are. Taylor Swift's different. She's a musical artist. But make no mistake. If come March, there's the big announcement that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are no longer dating, they all made money out of this. Kelce certainly has. I don't think it hurts Taylor Swift and the NFL made money. Win, win, win. And then they'll make a boatload of money when they break up. Or, God, could you imagine if they actually got married? The stories, the coverage, it's crazy. So it's very clear that Ryan is voting yes, that he is over the Swift-Kelce saga. I'm going to vote yes, too. It's a little much for me. To our first two for Tuesday at Matt Fontana's show. Do you believe the Browns are still going to make the playoffs? I'm voting yes. You're at 2-2. The wild card has opened up. And just take it for this. Look at the Cleveland Browns as the team. And I know it's hard with Watson. I know it's hard with how the defense played. I get it. Stay positive that this is a good football team. Stay positive that Amari Cooper is still good. There's been this flip on the offensive line. There's a lot out there that maybe they're not playing as well as you thought. Now Ethan Postig is day-to-day. Coach said if they had a game this weekend, he wouldn't play. There's a chance he can come out against San Francisco. But it's really started to understand that the run game is not, they're not run blocking the way that they are. And that's got to be a flip for them when Nick Chubb is not back there. And if anything, it makes me appreciate Nick Chubb even more. I already had a high level of appreciation for Nick Chubb. But you understand maybe how damn good he was to make that offensive line look so good. It was always the chicken and the egg. Is the offensive line making the running backs look good or the running backs making the offensive line look good? And I thought it was a perfect blend where we got good push, the zone scheme that the Browns love to run, which I love myself. But Nick Chubb making some cuts that you just tell that Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford, they're not making those. That's why they're not Nick Chubb. So now it's starting to come out the offensive line. Okay, maybe we're not run blocking the way that you need. Elijah Moore, all of a sudden, too. I got caught up in that hype, and maybe we put too much sauce on that. I know Padone was tweeting about that a little yesterday, too, about we thought that this was going to be Deebo Samuel in our offense. He's not quite there. But I still think there's a world where Elijah Moore is your fourth option on this team, is pitch it off to him, get him some carries. It could still work. I'm still positive about the Cleveland Browns. Therefore, I still believe they're going to make the playoffs. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And whether that's just me being optimistic, but it's really not, because when you brought this up, you go look at their schedule, okay. They just clean things up out of the bye. After the 49ers, every one of those games is winnable, and I would say in a handful, the majority of those, the Browns will be favored. So it's kind of one of those, go control your own destiny. And I believe to be here in week 4 and to think that they're totally out of it, it's not true.
I agree. Now the question is Deshaun Watson, and I can't let this go. I don't know why. I just can't. And I thought about it even more after our show yesterday. The shoulder and him not playing. I'm sorry. Something stinks. Something just... And I can't help it. And we'll never get the answers because they'll never tell us, nor should they. And maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. It could be as simple as he tried to throw and he couldn't. But something is bothering me. I don't know why. Like, something about the process that led to Deshaun Watson not playing on Sunday, the number one reason you lost that game, he's your quarterback. I'm not even going to mention the contract. You know what it is. Like, it's just something's not right there. And again, I might be making this up. This might just be loony me, like conspiracy theory. But something just, it's bothering me about this whole thing with Deshaun Watson. So he didn't throw all week, which we know. He was listed as questionable, and they elevated P.J. Walker. That probably told you all you needed to know, that the Browns maybe were more serious about Watson not playing than we thought. He goes to throw. He can't. He doesn't play. Then we start piecing a little more together from Kevin Stefanski that structurally there's nothing wrong. That pain tolerance wasn't really the question, because they were quick to bring up how Watson had played through the torn ACL at Clemson, and drove on a bus to go to Jacksonville to play a game with a punctured lung. I don't doubt that Deshaun Watson's a tough dude. You don't make it to the NFL, play in the NFL unless you're a tough guy. Okay, that's a fact. So then I just kind of question of like what? Like what? So what happened? What's going on? So we got a little bit more from Kevin Stefanski yesterday. He had his Monday availability. That'll be his only availability for the week. We're going to talk to Andrew Berry a little bit later this morning with all of his updates from the Cleveland Browns, as the GM normally speaks. So the first question I had, or the first thing I want to hear, Kevin Stefanski, first question here. Are you comfortable with where Deshaun Watson's shoulder is? This is kind of a question of they're just following up. There's no structural damage. Are you comfortable about where Watson's shoulder is at? This is Kevin Stefanski yesterday, sound courtesy of the Browns.
I'm comfortable, Mary Kay, just with the medical. I know Deshaun, obviously, we talk with the doctors. We feel good about it. He's going to use this week to rest and continue to get treatment. But yeah, I feel like medically we're all on the same page.
So they're on. So he that ripping that apart. Kevin Stefanski knows what's wrong with his shoulder. He won't say, but he knows. He said we're all medically on the same page. Structurally means there's no broken bones, there's no ligament tears, there's no AC joint separation, all that kind of stuff. So next up, Kevin Stefanski made a comment about this was not a pain tolerance thing when it came to Watson on Sunday.
He knows his body. He's played through serious pain before, very, very serious injuries. It wasn't a matter of pain tolerance or anything. He just did not feel like he had his full faculties.
He also said later, Watson just felt like he couldn't push the football. He couldn't push the football. And I think anybody that's ever had an injury, you don't feel like you can use it, right? Or maybe you're questioning it. If it's an arm with a shoulder, you could be dropping back and go, all right, I'm going to throw. And then when you just go to do it, it's just not, there's no zip, or there's just not. And that's probably where he felt like he couldn't play. You didn't feel that way all week? Or he didn't throw? I don't know where to place, not my anger, but my questioning. Is this just something that happened and it was a bad roll of the dice and he couldn't go? Or was there a failure in the lead up? Should the Browns have been better prepared for Deshaun Watson to miss a game? That comes back to how you handle the backup quarterback situation, and that comes to the game plan. So Kevin Stefanski was asked about the game plan. Basically, were you game planning for Watson to play?
Yeah, again, that's our job, truly. It's our job as coaches. You put a plan together, and then the backups execute the plan, and then based on who's available to you, you adjust your game plan both during the week and in game. So it's what happened yesterday was not an issue of, not knowing if DTR was going to play. That was not it at all. We just have to coach better and play better.
Brian and I gave the same. I don't know about that, Kevin. I love DTR, but there was an issue of DTR playing in that game. I don't know the game plan. I wasn't in, but it seemed like that was not something that was set up for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So with all of that, to hear all this come out, and I don't want to throw stones because I don't know. I frankly don't. But I'm one, Ryan, that I can't let this go. For some reason, I cannot. It is just stuck in my craw right now. I can't help it. And it's more not about what happened Sunday. That's over. It's what can we do to avoid this in the future? Or what? And the answer might be nothing. The answer might be this happens where a player tries to fight through all week. They try to get out there and it didn't happen. Hindsight is always 20/20, right? Maybe Deshaun Watson should have come out on Thursday and said, you know what? I can't play. And not saying the Browns announced that, but then tells the rest of the team that. Because it still sounds like they truly took it up till Sunday to make the decision. Then you got to factor in Dorian Thompson-Robinson from this standpoint. Ryan, if Josh Dobbs was still on this team, would the Browns have felt better just pulling the Band-Aid and saying you're not playing? Because remember in the Baker saga, and of course Baker's kind of involved in this because we went through the shoulder, they had Case Keenum. So it was a little easier for them to just say, yeah, man, you're going to sit down. We're going to turn this over to Case. When you were staring at Dorian Thompson-Robinson and going, okay, maybe we really need Watson to play. I'm wondering, did the team really push it so far because they didn't have a capable backup? And that's a shot at Dorian Thompson-Robinson I don't mean to take. He was good enough to be the backup. The Browns made that decision. You got to lay in that bet. I get that. But if you had Josh Dobbs here, would Deshaun Watson have been told on Friday, like, dude, you're actually going to sit down. We're going to turn this over to Dobbs. And again, lesson learned, probably for Andrew Berry about that, of maybe they should have kept Dobbs around. It's all hindsight. But it's just, am I wrong for that? Am I wrong just to sit here and think that the shoulder is there's something there? And it all, I will say this. This all comes from me as somebody that wants the Browns to be successful. I want them to win football games. And I know Deshaun Watson is a good path for us to win football games. I want him out there. I want him playing. I want him throwing for 400 yards a game. I want all of those things. This is not me on some witch hunt to sit there and say, oh, wait, what happened here? Get him out of town or run Stefanski out of town. I'm not doing any of that. This all comes from, I want the Browns to win. I want the Browns to be successful. So what I need for them is to maybe learn from this situation. Or I just cannot have this happen again. I cannot have this happen again. It cost you a game and it might cost you another one down the road. And maybe it's unavoidable. If you want to tell me that it is completely unavoidable on how it's handled, then I guess I have to accept that. But I can't. I'm sorry, I refuse to accept that.
Matt, I'm going to go ahead and use my journalistic degree. I'm going to do a little bit of investigative work, and I'm going to make sure I find the answer so you can sleep at night.
Okay, thank you. We'll get in the bushes out there in Barrio, snoop around, rip through some trash, see what happens. You never know. You never know what comes from it. Do we have an investigative team here at Big Play? Call Ken.
I'm gonna organize one.
Okay.
You ever seen the movie Spotlight?
No.
It's my favorite movie. Like the Boston Globe, like they have a Spotlight team that investigates stories
right.
over.
Yeah. I heard of it. Yeah.
That used to be my dream job.
We'll take applications now in the Twitter inbox. If you want to join the Big Play investigative team here, a brand new branch, wide open here. Start snooping around. We'll find things out. Maybe there's nothing to be found. Hey, I'm searching for nothing. But there's just something about it. And I'll be completely honest too, Ryan. It's because I don't want this to spiral into something bigger. And I'm going to feel this way until they play against the 49ers. And win, lose, or draw against the 49ers, at least then I can focus back in on football. But what I don't want is this to be a thing. And you know what I'm talking. I don't want this to be a thing. That it was mishandled or... And that's unfair of me to say. Because they probably handled it the best way that they could. But when it goes... When the result is what it is, I have no choice but to look back on the process. And just question about the shoulder. So if it's not a pain tolerance thing, he was medically cleared, and it was structural, then... I guess it's got to be one of those things, right? Like if it comes back that he just couldn't throw the football, that's basically what was said. would that not be a structural thing? I think what they're skating the line is, and this is just me, I'm assuming he's got a very severely bruised shoulder. Is that your deltoid, your side delt right there? And he took a shot right on it, right? That was the hit. We all saw the hit. We know the hit. So, yes, from a bone and tendon standpoint, structurally, it's not there. And when you go to throw, okay, it hurts. Something was there. And he just couldn't throw. Like, the other thing, if he didn't throw all week, which seems to clearly be a mistake, if like they didn't get him out there on Friday and just like at least try to throw to see how you feel. Because the fear is if he throws that he'll get set back, right? But to wait till Sunday to figure that out, hopefully this is just a giant learning thing for the Browns. But my fear then comes in that this is a lingering issue. That this is something he's going to get hit again. No matter what, you could not call a single quarterback run the rest of the year for the Browns. Deshaun Watson's going to get hit again in that shoulder. And you could put all the padding you want on it. You could do whatever. You put that stupid harness that Baker was wearing. It's not even for this because it's not a separation. I get it. He's still going to get hit again. And it might flare back up. And what I don't want, and this is, I don't want to be sitting come January and point back and say, yep, that's where it all started. That's what I don't want to happen. I don't want to be sitting there January jettisoned out of the playoffs, probably firing Kevin Stefanski, having all these questions about Watson and his contract, having Jack Duffin back on from the OBR to talk about how to get out of the Watson contract. We'll get Jack back on soon. I don't want to do that. And then I also don't want to look back and go, yeah, remember when he got smushed in that Titans game? The shoulder went bad and it just was never the same. We'll see. We will see. Our Twitter questions are up at Matt Fontana Show. First up, do you believe the Browns are still going to make the playoffs? My vote is clearly yes. And then are you over the Taylor Swift drama with Travis Kelce? First up, 50-50 about Ryan on our Twitter inbox. Do you believe the Browns can make the playoffs? Split right down the middle. And then our second one, are you over the, this one's not nearly as close. Are you kind of over the Swift-Kelce saga? 80-20, people say yes. Total Browns move says over, it never started for me. I don't buy that, Total Browns fan. Total Browns move, sorry. It was impossible for you to be a NFL fan and not be inundated with this at some point. Clay tweets, hell yeah, I'm over it.
Matt, we're going to have to eventually open up the phones because I need to hear people's thoughts on this whole thing.
Throw the phones out. What's the number? We don't have it on the screen right now.
I can pull it up.
All right, pull it up. If anybody wants to call. 216. Is that what it starts with? I'm assuming yes.
I don't think so.
Really?
No, I'll pull it up.
Pull it up. Throw it up there. We'll get to that. We'll update our Twitter questions as we go as well. Got a little more Browns to get into. It was Cavs Media Day yesterday. There was one big thing that I thought came out from Donovan Mitchell. We'll get to all of that coming up. Typico. That's what I get for betting the Giants.
Yeah, I don't know what you were thinking on that.
I was so, everybody was saying tennis or Seattle, they got it. I was like, there's got to be something. I was too smart for my own good. They get waxed. The Daniel Jones era, what a mistake. You want to talk the money they gave to Watson, whatever, sure, fine. How about the $160 million they gave to Daniel Jones? Brian Dable throwing tablets at him. 97-yard pick six. Man, do they suck. So bad there with the Giants. But, yeah, I missed out on that with Typico, but it's okay. We'll rebound. We got some games coming up. You need some bet credits for football season, or dare I say, Ryan, basketball season will be here before you know it.
Got a first glimpse at it yesterday in the media days. And,
yeah.
It felt good. It felt good.
We'll talk more media day coming up. But you need your bet credits for football season, for basketball season. When you gear up, you're a big hockey fan. Go ahead. Get those bets ready to roll. Big Play Sports Network, as always, presented by our great friends at Typico Sportsbook. Traditional bets, the money lines, the spreads, the point totals. I love the super boost that they throw in there. And I'm just going to speak quick, too. Their interface is so great. We live in a phone era where you could go to the website and you could do it there, but most everybody does what? You download the Typico app. I do love, and most have this, but I love that it's just the quick Face ID, and you're in. and you download the sports book. But I love the navigation. I want to get to same game parlays. I'm in. I want to get to player props. And one of my things too, because I love doing this, and we do it on the show from time to time, I want alternates. And what they're called is milestones. So when you go bet on a game, you could easily bet, like today, Rangers Rays, wild card round, boost, right? Ooh. Rays money line in a Randy Rose Arena just to get a hit. Boosted to plus 160. I like that. They got a super boost all 3 games. Phillies, Rays, and Blue Jays all to win. Oh, yeah. Phillies are not losing to the Marlins. The Blue Jays are going to smoke the Twins, and I think the Rays are going to beat the Rangers. That's boosted to plus 464. Baseball playoffs. Typico. Use that code BigPlay150. But what I was going to say is you go to milestones. And if you just want, like last night, Kenneth Walker over 50 yards. His over-under was set in the 70s, but you just want over 50, super easy to get to. Typico, download the app, use that code BigPlay150. You deposit you deposit 50, get 150 in bet credits and a $30 dog pound bet as well. Bet with the Big Play crew all season long with our friends at Typico using that code BigPlay150. I'm going to get this in right now. You think a little $5? No, let's go bigger now. Let's do a little. What do you think? A little 15 action on her today? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I like that a lot. I like this boost. Face ID, logging in. 15 on her. So, again, Rays money line. Money line, by the way, not spreads. Just straight money line. I need the Rays, the Blue Jays, and the Phillies to all win today. Boosted a 464. 15 gets me $85. I'm in. Typico. Use that code BigPlay150. Got to talk some Cavs. Media day was yesterday. Donovan Mitchell kind of asked about his future in Cleveland. We'll discuss it next. It's Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Check us out on Twitter. We're up on Facebook, YouTube as well. Get the podcast right after Spotify and Apple. Stay with us. My wife, don't talk about Kelsey and Swift. It's a fake relationship. It's not real.
So that's the thing that's so hard. I wonder, like, I'm not like even coming at them for that because like I feel like it could be real, but if we have to talk about it.
Basketball season in a way here with Cavs Media Day yesterday. Got to talk to all the players, hear from Kobe Altman, JB Bickerstaff. Biggest thing I took away, a little bit of an update on Donovan Mitchell's future in Cleveland. We'll discuss it right here. Welcome back. Matt Fontana Show here on Big Play. He's Ryan Tyler. Of course, Matt Fontana. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Check us out at Matt Fontana Show. I've gotten people. You're trying to get the phones up and rolling because I've gotten text. Not many people can text the show. And they think the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce relationship is fake. I have people who truly believe that this is all fabricated for money reasons.
Matt, I did a little bit of research. So it turns out Olivia Benson,
The cat. Taylor Swift's cat.
the $90 million cat.
You know, we probably made her money this morning because if anybody, we mentioned that Taylor Swift has a $100 million cat. She has an Instagram. If anybody went and clicked on that, it was probably like an eighth of a penny or something.
Yeah, but I found out that Olivia Benson actually has two siblings that are poor. Two other cats, Meredith Grey and Benjamin Button. They're poor.
Are they all Taylor Swift's cats?
Yes.
This is mean. You're not supposed to favor your kids. Yeah, what did these other cats do? What did they ever do to not? Olivia Benson, isn't she on CSI or something?
Law and Order.
Law and Order, thank you. So obviously Benjamin Button is what it is. What was the other one? Meredith Grey?
And Meredith Grey from Grey's Anatomy. So it turns out that Olivia Benson has endorsement deals with Diet Coke, DirecTV, and AT&T.
Hi, this is Olivia Benson for AT&T. Meow. Meow.
Never in my life will I ever sniff the amount of money that Taylor Swift's cat has.
I want to know who out there actually bought a Diet Coke or switched to AT&T because of Taylor Swift's cat. I want you named. I want you to be outed. I want you to identify yourself. If you saw that Taylor Swift's cat endorsed a Diet Coke and you felt like you needed to go get one to support the brand.
You'd be surprised, Matt, because people on Twitter.
Clearly, it's a $100 million cat.
The Swiftie cult is unlike. It'll be studied in history.
Oh, I know. I get it. I understand. It's the world we live in.
People post on Twitter investigating. They were shocked that Taylor Swift was eating chicken nuggets in the
I know, the
City
ranch.
booth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got it. Oh, I saw it. I get it, man. It's a powerful thing. Donovan Mitchell is a very powerful player. He's a very good player, and he spoke yesterday at Cavs Media Day. And kind of the biggest question that I took away from it, outside, I wanted to hear Kobe Altman. He gave a statement. He seemed very remorseful on his legal situation. Can't comment, and it's still ongoing, all that kind of stuff. I'm not asking for Kobe to be fired. I don't think he will be. He made a mistake. You should not drink and drive. Be fined, maybe suspended. We kind of move forward. But Donovan Mitchell was asked because technically he has a window coming up that he can sign an extension with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So last offseason, they make this huge trade. They get him over here. NBA contracts, and I've always said this, you need a borderline doctorate to read through the Supermax and the mid-level exception. The NBA is extremely complex when it comes to salary caps. Now that they have these different aprons, it's not quite as simple. And I guess any contract is complex in the NFL and in baseball and things like that. But basketball is a different monster. So he has a window coming up that's not even open yet, I don't believe, that he can sign an extension to stay in the Cavs. People are saying, wait, is he leaving? No, he's under contract for the next 2 years. But as we know in the NBA, you don't ever want to let a guy hit free agency. A lot of these extensions are done. And really, it's more of a status symbol, right? When you have a player, and as soon as they become Supermax eligible, or as soon as they're eligible for an extension, if you don't sign them at that moment, then everybody goes, well, wait a minute, what's going on here? It's usually for younger players on their first eligibility for the Supermax and all that. But Donovan Mitchell said he's not signing any deal right now. And shout out to Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. I'm going to have to try to get Chris on the show. I'd love to talk to him about it. But he had a great write-up about it. So Donovan was asked at Media Day yesterday about signing an extension. He said, quote, I still have the opportunity to sign an extension next summer. My primary focus is this, just trying to be out there, go out there and trying to be the best team we can to bring a championship to the city and go from there. We have some new additions. We obviously have a season you could kind of rate went really well until it went really bad last year. So for us, that's where our head is at. Kobe Altman was asked about it. The same deal that Donovan Mitchell can sign for an extension, he can sign next offseason. Mitchell is eligible to sign a 3-year extension worth about $150 million. And according to Chris, the two sides have had those contract negotiations and conversations throughout the offseason. But by waiting until next summer, Mitchell can get an additional year on his contract, which would mean more money. He is on the hook for 2 seasons, $32.6 million this year, $34.8, and a player option, which he will most certainly not pick up after that season, and he could potentially become an unrestricted free agent in the summer of 26. He'll be an unrestricted free agent in 25 if he's not picking that player option up. You never do. Well, I shouldn't say never. Like if you're in James Harden's situation, you do. But for the most part, if you're a player like Donovan who's going to be only under 30, is he 26 now or something like that, you don't pick that up. So, of course, he's not going to hold on to it, and he's going to wait to get the extra year. That's fine. And I'm probably wrong for this. But this is how I felt when Donovan Mitchell came here. This is how I feel today. And this is in no way an indictment on Donovan or the Cavs. He is a fantastic player. That trade is in no way a regret for me. It was an awesome trade. He's a great player. There's a day he's not on the Cleveland Cavaliers anymore. That day might be next offseason. If he really doesn't sign that extension, they probably will trade him away. And that's fine. Like, I guess I have no conflict in saying that. I would love him to sign that extension. I would love for him to play here for 7 years, and we have a nice long run with him and Garland and Mobley. Those are your 3 core guys. But also, there's a world that he leaves. In today's NBA, when stars are on the move, that's kind of how it goes. I'm okay with that too. And that's even more about why this season is so pivotal. And I think that's why the Cavs were as aggressive, say what you want about Max Strus and Georges Niang, and why couldn't we get Tristan Thompson 13? Is Rubio wearing 13? Who's wearing 13 for the Cavs?
I don't know.
Because he's in 12. It looks weird.
Matt, let me ask you this. Do you think, or how much weight do you put on how the Cavs finish this year? You know, whether they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, how much do you think that will influence Donovan Mitchell's decision to stay?
Massively. By the way, Rubio does have 13. Wishing him well, too. Still away from the team. So wishing Ricky best. I hope we see him this season. It's massive because it's like any star athlete. Any star NBA player. You need to show me that I am in the right place to win a championship, because if I'm not, I will go find another place. The NBA, the players are the most powerful of any professional league. I don't know soccer that much, but in the NBA, the players, star players, which Donovan Mitchell is, can call their shots. And that's why this season for the Cavs, to your point, Ryan, I think Eastern Conference Finals is what you have to make to prove to Donovan Mitchell that you are in the right spot. And I don't begrudge him for that. I don't see this as something. I see it like Dame Lillard, right? Dame Lillard gave Portland everything he had. And frankly, I think he stayed there 2 years too long. But he gave everything he had, and eventually you just have to understand we don't have it here for you. And you got to move on. Now, the Cavs are in a million times better place than Portland is. They have better players. They have a base of players to try to prove to Donovan Mitchell that you can go win a championship. A lot of that rides on the shoulders of Evan Mobley. Good news yesterday, by the way. So he said he put on a little bit of good weight. I hired a personal chef. If I ever won the lottery, which I didn't last night because nobody did, one of the first things I'm hiring is a personal chef. God, how awesome would that be?
Oh, yeah.
Just walk in and, what do you want today? I don't know. What are you making? God. So Mobley said he actually put a gym in his house and he hired a personal chef, put on some good weight. Excited for Evan Mobley. The Cavs' future is probably more tied to Evan Mobley than it is Donovan Mitchell. And the world that Evan Mobley becomes the best player on the Cavs is probably the best case scenario. But you still need players like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland on this team to go win a championship. And I think Donovan would be understanding of that. And you want to be on a good team with good players. That's what the NBA, the fit is important. The coaching is important, sure. But the Cavs this season need to prove to Donovan Mitchell that this is a place he can win a championship. It's that simple. And it doesn't mean they have to win it this year, but they've got to show improvement. The sour taste that we all have in our mouth after that Knicks series last year, you understand that there's got to be a step made. And it's not, I guess, I don't know if it's going through the LeBron thing or just kind of, I don't know if I'm jaded, But Ryan, I come from this from a real positive standpoint. I don't come from this as a negative thing of like, man, we're threatened here or we're really up against the wall to prove this. That's just how it is. And I'm excited to see this Cavs team. They should be, and in my opinion, will be a top 4 seed in the NBA East this year coming up. You're a good team. You got to play like it. You got to avoid injury and all that kind of stuff, sure. But yeah, this year is super pivotal to prove to Donovan Mitchell. Here's the other thing, which I don't know, and this is just me forecasting a little bit. There's a world you do all that, and he still says, you know what? Not the right place for me. People are all afraid of the Knicks. They think they had it built up that he just wants that he is just bound to go play for the Knicks one day. I felt that way with LeBron. I always felt that by the end of all of it, he was going to go find his way to the Lakers, and he did. There's that world that Donovan Mitchell goes to the Knicks one day. I'm cool with that. And people might be mad at me right now bringing this up. Why are you bringing this up on October 3rd, 2023? We're 3 years away from that. Okay, that's just the positivity that I have. That trade was great. He is a good player that you brought here, and you're giving it a run. You're giving it a good chance. It is different because you have Evan Mobley. If Donovan Mitchell was the only guy on this team, then I'd be afraid. Then I would be sitting there saying we can't lose him and this is going to be bad. But I don't feel that way because Evan Mobley should ascend to being an all-NBA player on this team. The conversations of maybe one day of him leaving. Then I'll get nervous, and that's way far off. But hearing that, and it's the smart money thing to do. He's doing what NBA players, he's holding the Cavs accountable. Now, holding them hostage, but he's holding them accountable. Say, I'm not going to sign this deal right now. Let's see how this season plays out. And at the end of the day, what do you want to do? You want the most options. You want to leave every option on the table, and that's what Donovan Mitchell is doing. It's all good. I feel confident. I feel positive about where the Cavs sit with Donovan Mitchell. Really, outside of that, other than yesterday, it was good to hear about Mobley putting on the good weight. Jared Allen seems to have like a little bit of a different edge to him. And then I loved what Tristan Thompson said yesterday. He goes, making no bones about it, about him coming in. If he needs to rough some people up, he will. Like, he knows his role. He knows his job with this team. It's exciting, man. And I'm just happy that the Cavs are back. We'll be getting reports out from practice, which is awesome. When's their first preseason game? What do they have? 4 this year, I think? You usually have 4. Oh, so they have a game on the 16th against Fontana. I'm assuming that's a EuroLeague team or something like that. I don't know who they are. They're up against the Timberwolves, the Cavs, and the Nets. So the 16th. So we're a couple weeks away over there at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Awesome. I love it. We're going to be there before you know it. All right, we got the morning update when we return. Ryan's got all the stories you got to know for your Tuesday. Let's get right to it. We'll do it when we return. Matt Fontana Show right here on Big Play, streaming on Twitter, on the YouTube, and on the Facebook at Matt Fontana Show. Morning update is next.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number and press pound. Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number and press pound. Enter your 6-digit PIN number. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-In Studio web interface.
Time for the morning update. I was a little early on. That's my bad. Morning update. Ryan's got all the stories you got to know. He put the phone up, 216-249-6875. You want to talk Browns? We're going to jump back to the Browns after the morning update. You want to talk Watson shoulder? Or if you want to talk Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, which is the thing Ryan doesn't want to talk about.
I do, but I don't.
Yeah. Here's the real question, and we, don't post this, but do you think it's a fake relationship? Do you think it's real?
I think it's real.
Okay.
I'm not going to go that far and say that it's not real.
My wife texted me.
Yeah.
She watched the Kardashians. She goes, it's fake. It's fake. It's a fake relationship. There's no way that this is real. It just happened to be that she's on a break for her tour. And also, her tour is going into movie theaters this fall. Coincidence? She needs that little promo? I think not. But nonetheless, morning update. I'm assuming we'll be sans a little Taylor Swift. We'll get back into the Browns coming up. Ryan's got the stories you got to know for your Tuesday. Mr. Tyler.
Alrighty, let's do it. Sticking in the NBA world, well, we talked a little bit about the new sitting policy, and Kawhi Leonard was asked about it, and he actually didn't know what the new rule was. However, they went on to tell him, and he had some comments that he said, if the league is seeing or trying to mock what I did with the Raptors, because we know he sat out a pretty decent amount of games during that championship run, he said, if I'm able to play, I'll play basketball. No league policy is helping me to play more games.
It's not the league, man. It's your team. Like, that's the thing about the players probably don't know about it because they're just going to listen to the team. The team doctors, everybody has sports science people. They're the ones that are going to come to the coaches and sit there and say, hey, this is when this guy should sit. This is when that guy should sit. And frankly, the players shouldn't have to worry about it. They really shouldn't. And notice that the fines and the issues are not player-driven. They're to the teams. The players are just listening to what the team tells them. So this is just one more thing that these data scientists, or whoever's coming up with this is just one layer that they got to figure out. And they're still going to do that. They are still every week, or probably more than a week in advance, they're going to sit down and they're going to slide a sheet of paper over to JB Bickerstaff. And they're going to say, JB, here is our plan on when we need to sit guys or how we need to sit guys. And we figured this out where we avoid the penalties and the fines from the NBA, where Donovan and Darius don't sit and Mobley and Darius Garland don't sit. We figured this out and we'll follow it. Then the injuries, if you're hurt, you're hurt. You don't have to sit out. You don't have to face these fines or whatever. So while I said it was stupid, and I think it's counterproductive, because the NBA wants the best games in the championship, right? Does anybody want to watch a finals that, I'm trying to think. It wasn't Kawhi, but in the Warriors run, right? They were missing guys, Klay Thompson, and granted, those are just like catastrophic injuries, stuff like that. But if the NBA wants their best games in the finals, then they should understand that players and teams, need to do the right thing to get their players there. Now, the midseason tournament is where you missed me a little bit. So you're worried about players sitting, but then you're going to add more games for a meaningless tournament just so you can make some more money. I think it's counterproductive. All that being said, you're just giving these smart analytics people one more thing that they got to deal with. They'll deal with it. I'm assuming it'll be fine, and they'll figure a way around it.
Alrighty, well, we've already seen a number of questionable hits in the NFL season. We know that all too well with our own Nick Chubb. Well, last night, Geno Smith had a problem with a hit by New York Giants linebacker Isaiah Simmons. Geno injured his knee on the play, and he said it was a dirty play, a dirty, dirty play. He said, you guys can see it. It was a dirty play. There's no place in this sport for that, and hopefully something happens.
Well, I mean, it's more about him going out of bounds, too. The NFL, I think, is starting to get into this issue about guys getting hit out of bounds, and you're not supposed to hit them once they touch the white and all that. Was it low a little bit? I didn't think it was that. I have more of an issue maybe on the lateness of the hit than where Geno got hit. But he got hurt. Of course he's not going to be happy about it. They put Drew Lock in the game, and he did okay for a little bit. But, yeah, of course he's upset because it was a low hit. I don't know. I really don't buy what Geno's selling here, though. I don't think it was that bad.
Alrighty, well, the Angels, Anaheim, California. Phil Nevin will not return as the manager of the Angels.
The Los Angeles Anaheim Angels of California.
After they finished 73-89. Well, I think it's safe to say it's going to be a kind of a tumultuous offseason there for the Angels, Matt.
What was it? They haven't made the playoffs since 2014, or they've only made the playoffs once in the last 14 years. They are wasting. It is astonishing that they have wasted two generational players in Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Anthony Rendon doesn't seem like a good deal all of a sudden out there with the Angels. If I'm them, I'm trading Trout and Shohei. Like, get him out of there. They're so bad. The interest that I always have is tying it back to Cleveland. Phil Nevin should not be on the Guardians list of managerial candidates. They've already begun that search. I've seen those reports. And there is something to be said about get out there early. Like, we know in coaching searches, there's a timing element to all of this. You want to get the guy that you want before somebody else grabs him. So the search is on. I do think there's a world that Gabe Kapler is on that list. Phil Nevin is not going to be on that list for the Guardians, or at least he shouldn't be. We know John Farrell probably will be. If Aaron Boone gets canned, that's kind of the next shoe I think a lot of us are waiting to drop. If he gets another year there, I don't know. But my interest there was like managerial openings for the Guardians. Phil Nevin shouldn't be on that list, though.
Alrighty, well, ESPN released an updated college football playoff picture, and the 4 teams that they currently have to get into the playoffs: Michigan, Georgia, Texas, and Washington.
No. I mean, I like Michael Penix, and he's, I would maybe say, a front runner for the Heisman, right? Like, Caleb Williams has done nothing to deter that, but Michael Penix is up there. It's not quite the guy we saw at Indiana, which is a little funny. I think Washington's in there because of Penix, certainly when you have that quarterback. I think the problem is going to be that, and I didn't look up Washington's schedule. What I'm looking up is on Tipico, the Heisman odds. Let me see here. NCAA, futures, awards. Dude, can I say it again? I got there in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. I love Tipico. Caleb Williams is the big favorite at plus 175. Penix is second at plus 370. Then Bo Nix, Quinn Ewers, Jordan Travis plus 1,500. Kyle McCord is still plus 4,000. How does Sam Hartman have better Heisman odds than Kyle McCord? I don't know. You'd probably be best at this point just putting it to Caleb Williams. Here's what I was going to say, though. The nice thing about the Pac-12 of where they're at, they actually, again, the top 3 Heisman favorite quarterbacks are all in the Pac-12. They won't be next year, but they are for right now. So there's competition. There's some big names out there. What I wanted to look up was Washington football schedule, because clearly they haven't played USC or Oregon yet. Woo! Next Saturday, Oregon, Washington, 3:30. That game is at Washington, and then they play USC on November 4th. I won't buy anything on them until I get to those games. Washington has beat Boise, Tulsa, Michigan State, Cal, and Arizona. I will pump the brakes there on the Huskies, which is one of the best mascots in all of college football. I'll pump the brakes there. The Big Ten will get one too, because we're Michigan. You said Michigan, Georgia,
Texas, and Washington.
Okay. This is a world the SEC is not getting a second one. Probably not. It's going to be just Georgia. Okay, I can listen to that.
Alrighty, last bit of news for the morning update here on this wonderful Tuesday, Matt. Trevor Bauer came out with a video yesterday where he said he's allowed to talk about his 2-year ongoing case that led to a pretty ugly exit from the MLB.
Yeah, and he settled these cases. I mean, this is such... It can be hard, right? Because we don't know what happened between two people. He claims it was consensual. He's got the text. Like, I think the video that he posted where the texts are coming out that this girl sounded like she was there to steal money from him. It doesn't mean that something didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, you don't read those texts of her saying that she was going to rob his house. It doesn't mean that he still didn't sexually assault her. I don't know. I wasn't there. But there's got to be something about when somebody's career is derailed like that and what happened didn't happen. Like, Trevor Bauer probably pitched in the MLB again. It sounds like these stories in the court, the documents, all that sounds like what alleged happened didn't happen. You know, the other one is that punter, that punt god, that Matt Arazia. And he isn't on an NFL team right now. And actually, I was talking to my buddies about it, so I was like, man, what happened to him? So the update on him was, for those that don't know, he was accused of raping a 17-year-old girl at a college party when he was in Arizona with 4 of his other teammates. He alleges that he left the party before this even happened. Now, the case is going on in, I think, civil courts, because I thought they dismissed the actual criminal charges. And he's asking for his case to be separate and be expedited so he could try to get back to an NFL team. Again, we don't know what happened. And I want justice served. If something like that, which is one of the most horrendous things you could do, you should be in jail. Frankly, I don't think you should get out of jail, but whatever. But if it didn't, then you're derailing careers and lives. It's just, I'll put it this way. Don't put yourself in that situation. Like for Trevor Bauer, he's not void of blame in this. Like there's some sort of guilt in this. And will he pitch again in the MLB? I think is the question. And I think the answer is yes.
Looks like we got another cases on our hand for the big play investigative team.
That might be one we stay away from. That might be one we stay away from. There's a lot of things going on with that. Deshaun Watson's shoulder, I'm all for. That I'm in for. Trevor Bauer's case took it to the courts. It sounds like he won. Sounds like he's coming out to say that the truth came out. When you put yourself in those situations, sometimes these things can happen. And they're professional athletes. I know Arazia wasn't, but Trevor Bauer was. We'll see. We shall see. All right, let's dive back into the Browns. Great stuff for the morning update right here on Matt Fontana Show. But it's a 2 for Tuesday, so we're asking everybody 2 questions, 2 answers as always. Do you think the Browns will make the playoffs? Yes or no? And are you sick of the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift saga? We are still 50-50. Ryan, on almost 300 votes at Matt Fontana Show. Appreciate the support. Kevin tweets, ever? No, Kevin, this season. This season. Do you still believe the Browns are going to make the playoffs? 50-50. Ewing tweets, these are his locks. Buffalo, KC, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Miami, and the Chargers. Ryan, would you disagree with anybody on that list? Again, Buffalo, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Miami, or the Chargers. Would you agree or disagree with any of those teams?
So the only 2 I would say that are questionable for me on that list are Jacksonville, and that's not me saying they're not going to make it. I do think that division is that bad, and I do think Jacksonville is still the best team, and they'll get it together. But the other one, I think it's a far cry to call the Chargers a lock.
Okay, so then I want to just pull up the full standings here. So 7 teams make it. So there's your 6. So one more would come down to Cleveland, Indy, or Cincinnati, or some other dark horse team. I think it's going to come down to Cleveland, I guess Cincinnati. I don't buy anybody else in the South. Like he brought up the Colts. Yeah. This is crazy. I'd actually believe the Titans a little more than the Colts if you wanted to throw it in. But at that point, if you just want to look at it strictly from that, yeah, the Browns got to look at it. They do. And again, a lot of it is going to be on the shoulder and the health of Deshaun Watson, but I still think they're in a decent position. T. Davis tweets, if Stefanski's still calling the plays, hell no, we're not going. We played this piece earlier. Can you pull up the game plan sound again? So Kevin Stefanski, the question was asked to him yesterday. Again, all kind of surrounding the Deshaun Watson shoulder thing and trying to figure out kind of what happened there. So the question to Kevin Stefanski yesterday was, I want to pull it up because I want to make sure that I'm reading it properly. Sorry. It's a question about the game plan, but I want to. Okay, here it is. Kevin, when you have uncertainty at the quarterback position, like how much of last week did you spend game planning with the idea that Deshaun was going to play, and then how much were you actually able to adjust when you found out he wasn't going to? So again, that's the question to Kevin Stefanski. How much of last week did you spend game planning with the idea Deshaun was going to play, and then how much were you actually able to adjust when you found out he wasn't going to? Here's Kevin Stefanski's answer.
Again, that's our job. Truly, it's our job as coaches. You put a plan together, and then the backups execute the plan, and then based on who's available to you, you adjust your game plan both during the week and in game. So, it's what happened yesterday was not an issue of not knowing if DTR was going to play. That was not it at all. We just have to coach better and play better.
He didn't answer the question. The question was, how much did you game plan with the idea that Watson was going to play? And he avoided it. Call the investigative team. He did. And that's not the first time. Like Kevin, any head coach, they avoid questions that they don't want to answer. I believe that the Browns were game planning and thought Deshaun Watson was going to play Sunday. It's what I think. Kind of maybe what I've been told. Doesn't mean that that's true. There's always multiple sides to a story. A lot of things that come out, whatever. I believe that the Browns were game planning for Deshaun Watson to play on Sunday. And when he didn't, all hell broke loose. And you tried to run a game plan because you can't just go in and rip the game plan up because the offensive line and the wide receivers and the running backs, they were all practicing for the game plan that it was. Kevin's not wrong. As a coach, you then need to flip the game plan and you need to maybe change some things. And if people want to get on him about that, I'll listen to it. But that's a hard thing to do for a coach to say, we're going to do this and we've practiced all these things. You still have to run the plays that you practice. You still had to run some of the plays that you had in there for Deshaun Watson. And it was clear that DTR just couldn't do that. So I asked the coaches to be better. I asked them to be better, knowing that that was a tough situation and that was a hard situation to deal with. And hopefully they learned from it. Or maybe they were actually able to figure it out. But Ryan, they've been through this before. When the Baker's shoulder, and we had multiple games. Remember all that? Remember we had multiple games that you had to deal with guys being in or out. And then I also go back to Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year in COVID. In a year where you had no idea who was going to be playing on Sunday, and they seemed to thrive in that. How did that fall off? And there are people that don't want to give due credit for the COVID year because we were just better at dealing with a blank storm than other teams were. It doesn't mean we dealt with it well, but COVID was just such a cluster. And the Browns somehow navigated it better. So that was a world where you every Sunday, what game? Well, I know the Steelers playoff game, you were missing everybody, Stefanski himself. But yeah, there were weeks that you were like, yeah, 5 guys aren't going to make it to the game. They're not going to play. This one, it felt different. You know what I mean? Like just something was different about this. And I hate to keep harping on it because you could just move forward and hopefully not have to deal with this again. Or better equip yourself. And by better equipping myself or better equipping the Browns, I don't mean just going to find a backup quarterback or things like that. But it sounded like the Browns put all their eggs in the basket of Deshaun Watson playing, and when they didn't, they got caught with their pants down. That's what happened. And that tells you the importance of your quarterback, the importance of that position. And I don't know, Ryan, maybe there's a way you can't guard against that. There might be a time that you get caught with your pants down again, and you just got to deal with it. But in a season where you have expectations, in a season where you want to go, you still lost the football game. You're trying to win, and you just hope that it doesn't happen again.
Matt, I'm over here looking at this list of previous Coach of the Year winners. There might be a little curse going on, Matt.
Vrabel.
2018, Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
2019, John Harbaugh. That's obviously the outlier.
That's fine.
2020, Kevin Stefanski. 2021, Mike Vrabel. Not really his fault. Not a whole ton of talent around him. I still think he's a decent coach. But then 2022, Brian Dable.
Yeah. Here's the common thread there, though. They're all usually young coaches. Because the vast majority, outside of like the Harbaughs or the Belichicks that win the award a lot, it's you took a really, really, really bad team and you turned them around. That's how you win Coach of the Year. That's what Brian Dable did. That's what Mike Vrabel did. That's what Kevin Stefanski did. That's what Matt Nagy did. So that award is usually leaning towards more of, like, because last year, what did people say? It should have been Nick Sirianni. What led to, oh man, the turnaround. Like that, the coach's award has almost turned into the comeback team award because the coach that took the team and turned them around the best. Because the misnomer there a lot, Andy Reid should probably win that award more often than not. Kyle Shanahan should always probably be winning that award. But you sit there and you go, well, yeah, when they have Patrick Mahomes or Christian McCaffrey, it's hard to look at. But look what Brian Dable did. Oh my God, he did that with Danny Dimes and he did it with lesser teams. That's what that award goes to. Do I put much stock into it? Nah. I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I'm happy Kevin Stefanski won it. Now, what, 3 years? Doesn't that feel like a lifetime ago? Holy cow, that was 3 years ago. Coach of the Year, playoff, Pittsburgh, COVID. It seems like a lifetime ago. And I do think that is, can't stand on that for much longer. I don't think you could stand on that much longer from Kevin Stefanski. It's an important year for him. We'll see. Our second two for Tuesday is up. Are you over the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce drama? Are you done with it? Ryan has clearly said yes. I voted yes. I don't think I'm quite to the level that Ryan is, but I'm definitely over it. This one was 80-20 earlier. 77-23 people say yes. They're kind of over it. They're not really into it. How far do you think it goes? Do you think this is something that, like, through the Super Bowl? And people said that. What if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl and then Taylor Swift is there? Do you think she should go down with Usher for a little halftime?
I would lose my absolute mind because...
Not in a good way either, because there are people that lose their mind in a good way. They'd be all excited about it.
If I have to watch the best Sunday of the year and I have to see Taylor Swift 8 times, and probably more than that.
What was it, 13 on Sunday Night Football, I think?
It's just
something
ridiculous.
Like that?
Nobody wants to see her reaction to the touchdown. I get it. She's happy, but it's like, give me a break.
Can I ask a question? How much football does she know? I'm genuinely curious.
And like I could care less how much football she knows. You know what I mean? It's like I'm happy.
I just wonder. I just really do, because like anybody growing up, whatever sport you played, when your, I would say significant other, but your boyfriend or girlfriend would come watch you play, sometimes they don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
But they're just there to support you. I just thought.
Yeah, I'm taking no shots at Taylor Swift, but the NFL should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, they want the money. One thing, and I'm sorry I didn't bring this up earlier, because I got this in the Twitter inbox a lot at Matt Fontana's show. This DTR took all the reps in practice last week. Because as we've begun our investigative journey here on Big Play to decide what really happened with Watson's shoulder, part of the reason that this is such a big thing for me is because Deshaun Watson didn't play. You lost the football game. DTR didn't play well either. People quickly wanted to go to Dorian Thompson-Robinson took all the first-team reps. I don't care. I don't. Okay? Because the game plan, in my opinion, was still heavily leaning towards Deshaun Watson. And practice reps do not anywhere get close to a game. And especially regular season practice. 2 of those practices were walkthroughs. He could take every rep of every practice from now until the end of the season. That will be nothing when it comes to the actual game. And this is just me. When you are still practicing and coaching, in the back of your mind, still thinking Deshaun Watson is going to play, it's different. And you cannot tell me it's not. I could tell Dorian Thompson-Robinson every single day to go out there and practice like you're a starter. It doesn't equate to actually starting the game. And it's different when you still think Deshaun Watson is going to play. That's one of the sports cliches I hate. Like, oh man, I prepare like a starter. That's bull crap, because it's impossible. You hear backup quarterbacks. I'm sure they get there at 6:30 and they watch all of the film and they go through everything. You still, what they know in the back of their head, I'm probably not taking a snap on Sunday. I will never, ever buy that. Ever. We all played sports. Most of us. Or were in the band. If you was in band, or usually in the first chair, right? In that, like, being a starter. And you practice all week. But you know the pecking order. You know where you're at. And you know you probably are not going to play come Sunday, especially at quarterback. Offensive line or wide receiver or defensive back, you're probably out there for some special teams. You're at least in the game. Most backup quarterbacks assume that they are not going to get in the game. Now, the coaches drill in their heads, be ready, be ready, be ready, because somebody could get hurt. You might have to go in the game. They still are not as well prepared because they're not the starter. So I carry no weight about, Dorian Thompson-Robinson took first-team reps all week. I don't care. That's a load of garbage. He still had no intentions of playing in that game, in my opinion. That, again, maybe leans back to if they had come out Wednesday, not come out because they never would have, internally sat down and made the decision. You're sitting. then Dorian Thompson-Robinson can approach it as a starter. And until you make that during the week, I will put zero stock into your practice reps. None. I'm sorry. I could be wrong for that. I'm sure a coach would tell me I'm wrong on that. Ryan, it does nothing for me. It really doesn't. Now, there is something to be said about the decision, right? This is the second time the Browns have faced this with a quarterback that they just didn't make the decision of them sitting or not. And I get that they wanted to go to the last hour, the 23rd hour, waiting to see if Deshaun Watson could play, and then he didn't because he's still your best option to play. When in reality, they would have been better off on Wednesday saying Dorian Thompson-Robinson's starting. Deshaun Watson's got a shoulder. The positive to take out of that is that maybe the shoulder injury isn't that severe where they really thought there was a chance he could go. And that gets into something of was Watson being truthful with them? Was he really telling them? Was Deshaun Watson telling the Browns what they wanted to hear or what they needed to hear? Because all week it was he's playing. Okay. Well, maybe he felt that. I don't know. It probably is just me bashing my head against the wall about it. But if he would have said, you know what, I got some hesitancy about this, then maybe the Browns could have better prepared for it. Well, I'm prepared for Time Hop. We'll get into this when we return. Got a couple of Browns games. I have a legacy type thing in Time Hop. Ooh. Something that has never been done, and I dare say will never happen again. We'll get to that, and a pretty big day. We were talking about legal matters earlier. Pretty big day in a legal world. We'll get to that coming up. Time Hop comes your way next. Fontana Show. We're live on Twitter. We're live on YouTube. We're up on Facebook as well, and streaming on the iHeart app. I keep neglecting the iHeart app. Folks, download it and take it wherever you go. Our show is live every morning from 9 to 11. Chico is live from 12 to 2 every day on the iHeart app. And then throughout the day, you get replays of our show, the Reflog show last night. They had Hayden Grove on. I was sad to miss Hayden. I love Hayden. Hayden's the best. So they had Hayden Grove on the Reflog show last night. The replay of the Reflog show, is it right after our show? There's an hour gap between us and Chico. But anyway, download the iHeart app. It shows throughout the day. Bobby's show, Booby's show, Cavs right around the corner. Certainly Josh Maria Cribbs, which will be tonight with the return. It's all there. iHeart app, search Big Play. It's up for you there. And, of course, the social media channels across the board there. Let's jump into Time Up. We'll do it next. Stay with us. jumping in a little bit of time hop here on the 3rd of October, 10:33 your time this morning right here on the Matt Fontana Show on Big Play. Welcome back. If you're new to Time Hop or new to the show, we first off welcome you. We appreciate the support. And we go back and tell you what happened this day in history. Some sports, some non-sports, and an important birthday for me to get to a little bit later today. And Ryan, for you, one movie, 2 TV shows for you to guess on today, coming up with Time Hop. But first, we start with the Browns this day, 2021. I remember this game because it was just kind of fluky and a little funky. Browns beat the Minnesota Vikings 14-7. This day, 2021. Browns improved to 3-1 on the season. Here's why it was fluky. Justin Jefferson scored a touchdown on the Minnesota Vikings opening drive with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. Didn't score again. Kareem Hunt had the only touchdown for the Browns in the second quarter. The teams combined for a field goal in the second half. And the other weird thing of a game that had 21 combined points, there was only one interception thrown. Kirk Cousins threw one interception. That was it, and neither team fumbled. It was just like nobody moved the football. Like, it was just a weird game. Browns total 155 yards passing for Baker, $184 on the ground, and Minnesota only combined for 267 as a team. It's just a weird, fluky, weird game, but I remember it a lot because, again, the Browns improved to 3-1, and it was also Stefanski going back to Minnesota, where he had been before and as the reigning coach of the year. So the Browns improved to 3-1 this day, 2021. This day, 2013, Browns, Thursday Night Football, and they beat the Buffalo Bills 37-24. Do you remember what I remember about that game, Ryan?
I don't think so.
Brian Hoyer had to leave, and Brandon Weeden came in relief. Hoyer unfortunately got hurt in that game. Weeden came in with 13 out of 24 for a touchdown, and the Browns beat the Bills 37-24. Willis McGahee had a rushing touchdown, and I believe the Browns had a defensive touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, yeah, TJ Ward had a pick 6 in that game. Here's what I remember about that. It was in Cleveland, and bro, when after the game, because it was Thursday Night Football, and the Browns improved to 3-2, Buffalo fell to 2-3. So we weren't like electric teams or anything like that. They pulled Brandon Weeden up to that dais, and you'd have thought he had just won the Super Bowl. He was sitting there, and he was just gleaming with pride. And I go, dude, you had to replace the starter, and all you did was go 13 out of 24. He was also sacked 5 times in that game. And you just beat a bad football team. Because also the Bills, EJ Manuel got hurt. They had to put their backup in too. But I was like, I don't know why. I always remember that. That Weeden got up there on that set for Thursday Night Football, and you thought he threw for 400 yards to win the Super Bowl. It's like, dude, you won a crappy Thursday night game. You had to come in as the backup. Like the way that he was talking, our guys battle and all that. I remember that game for some reason. This day, 2013. We move on. I mentioned a legacy type thing. You know who Gordie Howe is, right? Legendary hockey player. Well, how about this? That this day, 1997, 69-year-old, nice, Gordie Howe played for the Detroit Vipers of the now defunct International Hockey League, RIP to the Lumberjacks, and he became the first player to play hockey in 6 different decades.
Wow.
So that would have been the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, and the 40s. For 69-year-old Gordie Howe, the legend that he is. God, do I miss the IHL. I'm happy the Monsters here. By the way, did you see the Monsters' new jerseys for this season? Sharp. They're looking nice. They added a little blue to it as well. Looking good over there for the Monsters this season. I love going to Monsters games, man. Like, I'm a Blue Jackets fan, diehard. And I try to go to Columbus once a year with, like, my brothers, my wife. We all go down there for a game. It's a lot of fun. But, dude, they got that 1, 2, 3 Friday free promo here for the Monsters, who I love. We'll get Tony Brown on. They're play-by-play guy. I love Tony. But they do a 1, 2, 3 Friday nights. It's like, I think it's $1 pop, $2 hot dogs and popcorn, and $3 beers on their 1, 2, 3 Friday. I love it. Dude, you get a ticket for 20-odd some bucks. And the other thing, I can't wait to take my son, because I'm going to take him. I'm going to get glass. I want rinks. I want on the glass and let these guys come crashing in. Oh, it's the best. So shout out to the Monsters. This day, 1995, the verdict that O.J. Simpson was found not guilty. I don't want to get sued, but come on.
Hey, the glove don't fit.
I guess, man. That I was only 6, so like I don't really remember it. But to live during that time for all that cover, like, then he writes a book. He's made comments about not. He goes, I could be sitting next to the person that did it. Really? I mean, it's again, 2 people lost their lives. Like, it's sad. I wonder if he'll ever admit it. Those are just some things like on his deathbed. Will he write it in his will? I don't know. But crazy. Absolutely crazy. This day, 1993, the Indians played their final game at Municipal Stadium. Of course, the Browns would be there, and then they'd move on Jacobs Field, and, the departure of the Browns, but certainly a sad day in a way. This day, 1993. This day, also with the Indians, Frank Robinson. This day, 1974, Frank Robinson became the first African-American manager in MLB history. He signed with the Indians for the year to be a player manager for $180,000. An important day because this day, 1863, President Lincoln proclaimed Thanksgiving as a national holiday. What's your favorite holiday of the year, Ryan?
It's got to be Christmas,
That's
but
fair.
I feel like that's kind of the obvious one. So outside of that, I'm going to go Halloween.
I'm Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Oh, we're really entering my era, man. I love the fall. The fall is my favorite time of the year. October might be my favorite month of the year. Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas for me.
I can't wait to produce for you in my costume coming up.
Oh, are you going to wear your costume?
Oh, absolutely.
So my wife and I have had this little question because over the last couple of years, we have a 2-year-old. Our son is 2 and our daughter's 3 months old. So with our son, we've done themed Halloween with him. We didn't do it last year. He just went as like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. But the first year, he was just a baby, and he dressed up as Yoshi, and then I went as Mario, my wife went as Luigi. So it worked out really well. So she's had this question now. She's like, do we let our son dress up for like whatever he wants? He loves Paw Patrol. He loves Batman. So she's like, do you want to let him dress up as Batman, and then we could dress the baby up as like Robin, and then you and I can go as... I was like, I don't know. I love Halloween. We love dressing up. So maybe we'll do that for Halloween, because Halloween I think is on
It's on a Tuesday.
So yeah, maybe we'll do that.
But how about this, Matt? I'm definitely wearing my costume because we have a Friday the 13th in October.
We do have that. I didn't remember that coming up. But Thanksgiving is undefeated in my opinion. I love Thanksgiving. It's the best. Very happy birthday goes out to Dave Winfield, Dennis Eckersley, a couple baseball players there, Fred Couples, Anquan Bolden, Gwen Stefani, Al Sharpton, ASAP Rocky, Tommy Lee, drummer, Nev Campbell, Kevin Robinson from the Backstreet Boys, Sean William Scott of probably American Pie fame. And I say the best for last. It is my mother-in-law's birthday today. So to MB's, to her grandchildren, Gigi, very happy birthday. We love you very much. We celebrated yesterday with a great party. So a very happy birthday to her. All right. 2 TV shows and a movie for you today, Ryan.
Let's do it.
In Time Hop. First up, the one movie I have for you. This day, 2003, Jack Black takes over a classroom of kids.
School of Rock.
School of Rock is correct.
Great movie.
Good. We have solid flick. I feel like Jack Black I think he's a little underrated as an actor. Like, there's some really good movies that he's been in. But yes, School of Rock, this day, 2003. All right, I'm going to have a better vibe for the second one than I will the first one, but I should have Googled this before. So I will start by saying that this is a very legendary show. This show it's a sitcom. It debuted this day, 1961. So it's a little bit older. I can't say that I ever watched it, so this is going to be really hard for me to try to explain it. All right, this is the premise as I'm reading off of Wikipedia. The work-home life of Rob Petrie, the head writer of a comedy variety show produced in Manhattan. The viewers are given an inside look on how a television show was written and produced. The fake show was the Alan Brady Show. And it deals with Rob Petrie with his co-writers and, of course, his at-home life as well. His wife was Mary Tyler Moore. Her name was Laura in the show. any idea.
I don't even think I have a clue,
I
Matt.
don't either. I'm sorry, I really don't. The Dick Van Dyke Show.
Okay,
The
yeah,
Dick Van
no
Dyke
way.
Show.
In
Yeah,
any
I would
world
not
was
have gotten
getting
that one, but that's okay. So we move on. Another legendary show began this day, 1960, and it all surrounds a small town sheriff.
Oh, nah.
Yeah, you might have had it. I don't know. I think where you were leaning was probably right. If I gave you the name of the town, it would give it away.
I don't know if I'm going to get this one either.
Oh. The series revolves around the sheriff of a sleepy, slow-paced fictional community of Mayberry, North Carolina.
Nope.
What? Nothing?
No. Mayberry, North Carolina is not ringing a bell.
Aunt B, Opie, Barney Fife,
See, those all sound so familiar. But
Gomer and Goober Pyle, USMC, Otis.
nope.
Otis was my favorite character on this show.
No idea.
The Andy Griffith Show.
Okay, yep. Wouldn't have got
A
it.
young Ron Howard, if you will.
No idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Gomer and Goober Pyle. That's right. The Andy Griffith Show began this day, 1960. So there you go. School Rock, Dave Van Dyke, and the Andy Griffith Show. I teased this a little bit earlier in the show, but which national chain has the best drive-through time? So I found this article yesterday. I thought it was pretty interesting. So a survey conducted over 1,500 drive-through restaurants. They didn't say in what city. I'm assuming this was across the country and at different times. Like, you try to go to a drive-through at 12:30. It's lunchtime. It's pretty busy, whatever. So Touch Insight released its annual drive-through study, which analyzes the top food chains across multiple categories: order accuracy, speed, food quality, suggestive selling, and level of satisfaction. So the two I think we're most interested in: order accuracy and speed. 1,500 drive-thrus between Arby's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', Hardee's, KFC, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. I would say of all the national chains that I'm trying to think of, they got most of them. Like, I can't even venture to say, like, maybe Popeyes, because they're pretty big, but still, they got, I think, the vast majority of the 10. So, Ryan, you mentioned this earlier, and I say this by saying we'll take any of them as a great sponsor here with Big Play. We have nothing against any of them, and I frankly love all those places. They're great. But you mentioned you think you had an idea of who was the slowest and the fastest.
Yep.
So they broke it down into two things: your average wait time, which is like you actually getting up and ordering, and then also your total time from like the time that you pull into the drive-thru to you are exiting the drive-thru. Of those ones, who do you think was the fastest?
So from my experience, it's got to be hands down Chick-fil-A.
Interesting. Okay. Who do you think was the slowest?
So I've never, what did you say that one was? Carl's Jr.?
Carl's Jr.?
So I've never been there, so I can't speak on that.
Okay.
But in my experience, the slowest has been Taco Bell.
Ryan, you are the exact opposite. Taco Bell was the fastest. Chick-fil-A was the slowest.
See, that's
according to them.
Interesting.
But
interesting.
Have you ever go? Because like, here's the thing. I think Chick-fil-A's gotten better because now most places have two lines,
Yeah.
and those are. But dude, those Chick-fil-A lines can get nuts. Those can get really bad, and they try to go really fast. Taco Bell. I'm conflicted because there's really only one near where I live. And I frankly think they're dealing with staffing problems, which that's not their fault. I'm not going to ever yell. I won't ever yell at somebody that actually showed up to work. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying. That's the people that probably didn't show up you like to yell at. So according to this study, the average total time spent in line at Taco Bell, 278 seconds. That comes out to about 4.5 minutes. For Chick-fil-A, you're in line for almost 7 minutes. For the most amount of time spent in line. Now, your average wait time, Carl's Jr. was the fastest. Chick-fil-A was the slowest.
Interesting.
if you had to guess, who do you think was the most order accurate? So when you place your order, you don't miss the fries. You said take the cheese off. They were the best.
Can you run through the list?
Again, I'll go in non-order because I don't want to give you the order that they have.
Okay.
I think this is alphabetical. Yeah. Arby's, Burger King, Carl's Jr., Chick-fil-A, Dunkin', Hardee's, KFC, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. Of all of those, which one do you think is the most order accurate?
Okay, so again, from my experience, maybe I've just had some wonderful experiences, but I feel like at all of those places, I can note down a time where, I haven't gotten an item or they messed it up. But I think that's yet to happen. I mean, I need to knock on wood at Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is correct. 92% of the order accuracy. And I think the big thing with Chick-fil-A is, the people are very forward facing. They're always they're supposed to be really happy and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, dude, just give me your delicious nuggets and get me out of line. That Chick-fil-A sauce is addicting.
It's insane.
It is crack.
It's insane.
So,
it's insane. It's insane.
So good.
It's insane.
The ranch is good. All the dipping sauces are great. I love Chick-fil-A. So they came out with an order accuracy of 92%. There were 3 that all had an 82% for last of order accuracy. Arby's, Dunkin', and Hardee's.
Okay.
Dunkin's a little weird for me because, I guess I guess coffee can be weird because people, it's not just all have coffee, 2 creams, and a sugar. There are people that have crazy ass off coffee orders. I would have loved if they'd done Starbucks in this.
Yeah, that'd been interesting.
Not every Starbucks has a drive-through, but most do. And the same thing, the app. I order on the app a lot for Starbucks. But their order accuracy can be crazy because you can get, I want a venti Americano shaken with this sauce with you see some people's Starbucks order and it's half the cup that they take in all of it, but they weren't in this study. So again, Arby's, Dunkin', and Hardee's with the lowest one. But again, the quickest was Taco Bell. And I'll tell you this, man, they were not going at 1:30 in the morning. I joked earlier about all of us being in line at a Taco Bell at 1:30 in the morning at one point of our life or not. They're not quick. And that's not their fault. It's busy. It's everybody goes to a Taco Bell at 1:30. In the afternoon, sure. Midday, I would think they're pretty quick. But according to their study, Taco Bell was the fastest. Carl's Jr. was second, KFC third, Arby's fourth, Dunkin' fifth, McDonald's was the second slowest. So actually the bottom 3 were Chick-fil-A, the slowest. Then McDonald's. According to this study, you spend 6.8 minutes on average in the drive-thru at McDonald's. Burger King, a hair better at 5.8 minutes in the drive-thru at McDonald's. Are you the person, Ryan, when you see the long drive-thru line, will you just get out of your car and go in, or are you staunch, I'm in my car, I'm not getting out, I'll wait for this line forever?
No, I don't mind getting out. I'm fine with that. But if it's for me, when I see Chick-fil-A, no matter what time you go, that line is always out the door.
That line's out, yeah. And but, again, they're trying to get better. The one that gets me, and I love coffee, we've discussed a lot of coffee here on the show, and I like Starbucks, I do. That is one that when I see people, the line out to the street, and it's, a lot of people in the morning, and if you don't grab your coffee, but that's when I go, sometimes you can't even get into the parking lot to park your car and go inside. But I've had plenty of people, and maybe even people watching or listening, that are in the service industry and have done that job. I've always been told that they prioritize the drive-through line. I don't know if that's true or not, and maybe it's different via franchises and things like that, but I've always been told that they prioritize the drive-through line. So well done for Taco Bell on the quickest one there. Satisfaction with the service, Chick-fil-A was number 1, Taco Bell was number 2. Taste as expected, Chick-fil-A, KFC, the 2 highest, 98% tasted as expected.
We gotta do on a 2 for Tuesday one time. I know it's a big topic of discussion, but who has the best chicken sandwich? Because it's always between Popeyes, KFC, and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. That Popeyes one is so good, though. So is Chick-fil-A. Not knocking. If I'm going to go to KFC, I'm not getting the sandwich. I'm just getting regular chicken from KFC. I feel like the Popeyes one, the popularity has kind of, it spiked and then it kind of came back down a little bit. With both of them, it's the pickles. You got to have the pickles on there. So good. So very good. We'll talk to Andrew Berry a little bit later today with the Browns. I got to see here. Media schedule. Oh, I'm sorry. He's tomorrow. He's tomorrow. I keep saying he's today. He's tomorrow. But he's actually going to be during our show tomorrow. So we'll hear some interesting things from Andrew Berry tomorrow. I'm kind of interested to hear. You know me, man. I want to ask him. I obviously won't be there. I'll be here. But I'd like a little more insight into Watson thing. I would. And maybe I'm digging a hole that goes nowhere. Potentially. Like, maybe I'm just barking up the wrong tree with this. There's nothing there. He got hurt. It is what it is. He'll be asked about that backup quarterback situation, though. I think he's going to be asked about the offensive line. There's a lot of pivotal things when it comes to Andrew Berry this season, so we'll hear from him tomorrow. Cavs are back into training camp. They'll be rocking and rolling. Still waiting some things on the Guardians, too, to see some of the managerial things. We have playoff baseball, though, today. You going to watch today, Ryan? I placed that bet on Tipico. Let me tell you about Tipico one more time, because I placed a super boost today that I love. You go to Tipico, download the app, use the code BIGPLAY150. You get that $150 in bet credits when you deposit $50, plus a $30 dog pound bet, and that is good for the futures, by the way. Tipico boosts. Oh, man, they have a lot of boosts going for today. Tyler Glasnow, 10-plus strikeouts, plus 390. Zach Wheeler, Tyler Glasnow, and Corbin Burns to record 23-plus strikeouts combined, plus 140. This is the one that, where's the boost that I got? Hang on. Signing in. Sorry, use the Face ID here. The super boost I loved was Rays, Blue Jays, and Phillies, all on the money line, plus 464 on that boost. Catch that on Tipico. Use that code BIGPLAY150 and get signed up. You can play for all the NFL, but certainly baseball right around the corner. It is a little weird, too, Ryan, to see, because I was thinking about this last night, and maybe a 2 for Tuesday question. Do you play fantasy football?
I do. I love it.
So would you rather win your bet or win your fantasy league in a week?
I guess it depends how much money because at the end of the turnout. So in my league, like the winner was 800 last year, and this year I think it'll be around like 950.
Right,
so.
And that doesnn mean you win the league either.
Right.
It's just like one week or that kind of stuff. But it's interesting now that in Ohio, because we haven't had a full fall of football with betting, but also playoffs, baseball, knowing the Guardians are out of it. Watch a little. Now, I'm interested now in these 3 games. I don't know if I'm going to watch all these games, but we lined up for a little bit of playoff baseball a little bit later today. Really appreciate everybody joining us, as always, today here on the show. We'll be back 9 to 11 tomorrow. A little preview. We will not have a show on Thursday, but we'll be back on a Friday edition of Football Friday, so we got you covered tomorrow and Friday as well. Don't forget, Chico coming up 12 to 2. It is Tuesday. I always add the beautiful, but the beautiful Bald Browns breakdown with Chico and Nick Shook. I think that's what they call it. I don't know. Shook is in for the hour to talk about everything Browns. You can get your questions in for Chico Borman Show on Twitter and on Facebook as well to catch their live stream coming up at noon. So Shook will be in. I can't wait to always hear that. I always catch it with Shook. I want to hear his thoughts on this whole Watson shoulder thing as we get to the bye. So Chico's coming up at 12. Of course, tonight, Josh and Maria with the return. Get it all. Big Play, social media, or head to the website and get some of the merch. I'm wearing my Big Play shirt today on bigplay.com. So check us out there and drop us a follow at Matt Fontana Show. We're on Twitter. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook as well. Appreciate everybody joining us this morning. Have a fantastic, beautiful rest of your Tuesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow on another edition of the Matt Fontana Show, 9 to 11 every morning right here on Big Play. Great stuff. For Ryan Tyler, I am Matt Fontana, and as always, take it easy.